Hi everyone, I'm Elisha Krause, and this week on the Washington Examiner Newsmaker series, I am joined by the CEO of Cardone Capital, Grant Cardone, who talks about his 7-company lawsuit against OSHA and the Biden administration over the vaccine mandate and much more. Grant, thank you so much for making time today, sir. I know you're a very busy man. Before this interview, you mentioned that you're currently in New York City where there is this vaccine mandate. Are you experiencing it in real life, or do you just think that it's difficult to enforce?
Well, this is what I've said since this started a couple weeks now. Joe Biden is asking the federal government that's already overlabored, and local governments and policemen, firemen, restaurants. Look, a restaurant has trouble getting the French fries to the table on time, or inventorying the right proper bottle of wine, or pricing their products, even staying in business. Now, what are they supposed to do? Have somebody at the front door checking vaccine cards. So when I came to New York, for me, everything, I want a personal, practical experience on everything. I'm running 7 companies. They're simple companies. I'm a small business owner. I'm a very practical person. And pro-vaccine, or if you're against the vaccine, the reality is people have to enforce these laws. So I was told that I would have to have a vaccine card to come into a hotel, to come into a restaurant. That has been enforced I've been in 4 hotels. I have been in 6 restaurants. Not one person asked me for a vaccine card.
Wow. So you think that this is a kind of overreach and the government is relying too much on private business? I guess the question is, as a business owner, you are now suing. You tweeted the other day that all of your companies, of which you said that there are 7, are going to be suing the Fed and OSHA over this vaccine mandate. How many employees do you have, and have your employees reacted to this and supported your decision?
Yeah, we have almost 200 employees in our Miami office, another 350 around the United States. Our real estate portfolio. I have gotten nothing but people that are happy about this. It is not my job. My job is to provide people with a great place to work and an opportunity, provide them with a paycheck and exactly what I told them. My job is not to get involved in their health. Like, what do? I ask them, hey, I would love for everybody to be in great shape. I'd like everybody to do 25 minutes of cardio every day, but that's not my business. My business is to provide them with an opportunity. I appreciate their hard work. I appreciate those people taking on more responsibility, showing up for work every day, doing their job. And I also value their freedoms. And I know that I have people within these 700 plus employees that we have across all the businesses and partnerships. I know that some of them have religious and spiritual conflicts with putting a vaccine in their body, that they trust their God, their understanding of a higher power to take care of themselves. Lastly, I'll just say this. There's 250, I'm one of these 215 million survivors of COVID. There's 215 million people that have survived this thing worldwide. It's probably higher than that. That have survived it, that have antibodies. I wish the government was saying, hey, for those of you who have the antibodies, you don't need the vaccine. I think that would sell a lot better.
So you mentioned that a lot of your employees are in Florida. Of course, Governor DeSantis down there, looking like a 2024 frontrunner, has done a lot to make sure that businesses and business owners are protected in that state. But in places like California, where I reside, and unfortunately Newsom was able to recover during this recall, he's probably going to really push for these types of mandates. Do you plan on your corporate entities also suing people on the state level, like Governor Newsom and others?
Well, we moved out of the state of California 8 years ago before it was popular, because I could see this wave coming. So when they raised from 10 to 13%, we left. I was very vocal about it. I wrote the governor at the time. They didn't respond to me. We moved to Florida. I immediately got a welcome letter from the state of Florida after being in California for 25 years with my businesses. And the state of Florida said, welcome to Florida. Anything we can do to help you, to assist you. Our businesses exploded in Florida being there. Not just because of the 0 state tax, but because of the friendly government, the friendly regulations. So we won't even buy real estate in California today as much as I'd like to. We won't buy it there because of the government's overreach into my business. it just makes it impossible to do business. So I won't be suing the state of California because I'm not there, but I will be filing a class action suit against Joe Biden, the administration, and OSHA for getting involved in what I believe will be disruptions to my business. We're already seeing it.
And do you think, sorry, go on.
No, the fact that I have to even handle this is an issue. And I don't think that they're going to see this through. I think this is a hoax to get as many vaccinations as possible, and then they'll drop this whole thing. They will not see this all the way through. Just like the UK's already dropped their requirement for vaccine passports across the United Kingdom.
So you have the ability to sue. There's other companies like in the conservative media realm, Daily Wire is also saying that they're not going to comply. But it seems as if this has kind of become a right versus left issue. Do you see this that way, or do you just see it as a basic individual medical freedoms issue?
Yeah, I just see this as this is not a right or left thing. This is not a Trump or Biden this is not me being against him. I'm pulling for this guy to do a great job and to get our employment back and to get our country expanding again and to get rid of all this divisiveness. I am not, and I don't believe this is the way to do it, is to force me to do something, particularly when the companies that produce these drugs are not willing to stand behind these drugs. And I think that if the Biden administration wants everybody to have a vaccine, the easy way to do it is to promise, hey, if anything happens negative because of the vaccine, the companies that produce the drug will pay, maybe it's $1 million for every harmful effect of the drug. Why can't they do that? These drug companies make plenty of money. The U.S. government is willing to print money. So why not stand behind it, support it, and say, hey, we're willing to take care of your family in case something bad happens. With vaccines adopted, more doing that than a whip saying, I'm going to fine you $14,000 for every employee you don't have. And they can't enforce it again because I'm just going to chop my companies up if it goes to the 100, which is an arbitrary. Mm-hmm. So at 99, we're safe. At 100, all of a sudden I breached, and now we're an unsafe company. All I'll do is chop my company up anyway into smaller pieces so they can't enforce the law anyway.
And there have been so many people that have been affected by this kind of, oh, well, events of 500 are okay, but events of 1,000, you have to have a vaccine passport. I was recently at an event, the Crenshaw Youth Summit, where Tony Robbins was talking about how his entire business model was disrupted because of events. How do you think that people should, and I'd be remiss to not ask you, how would you advise people to kind of be able to shift and be nimble in this? Because you obviously have the resources to chop up all of your companies. What about the people that might, have a closer bottom line and find that more difficult to do?
I think that they're going to figure out how to go work from home, and it's very easy to split a company up into departments and divisions and just come up with different LLCs. But again, these are all workarounds. That's why I don't think the government can enforce this. We did a 2,200 person event at the Turnberry Hotel in Miami 3 months ago. We did not have one COVID reported. Not one COVID reported out of 2,200 people. They were together for 3 days. I have a friend of mine in the barber business. They had 3,500 people together for 5 days in Las Vegas. Not one reported. But you can't get the media to cover these things.
Oh, yeah. I've often joked. We went to Disneyland about 3 weeks ago, and after 10 days, when none of us had COVID, I was like, well, maybe it is over.
Yeah. So I don't think that we know how this thing works. I think that people are being scared, and rightfully so, by the media. And I just encourage more business owners that have a position, that have a checkbook, that have employees, to stand up and say, hey, this is not okay now.
Would you be willing to sit down if the Biden administration were to conduct like an advisory committee, like Mark Cuban and others served on the Trump advisory committee during the pandemic? Would you be willing to sit down with the president and his team to say, hey, please don't do this, and here's why? Yeah,
100%. Like I have decontaminated my offices, which was not on my budget before 2019. I have decontaminated my office every 4 weeks since this thing started. We immediately put in the 6 feet. Another arbitrary. We immediately put in the mask. Another arbitrary, by the way. Okay. The reason people are resistant to the mask is because which mask? Okay. Which mask should I wear here? Okay. And you know, if you're going to wear the mask, wear the mask. If you're going to wear the mask, but not when you eat, it just people aren't buying it. Common sense people are like, wait a minute, if I eat, I'm good. I can take the mask off, but when I'm not eating, I need to cover it. It's just people aren't buying that story, right? Mm-hmm. And I just know that if people stand up, enough people stand up, that small business owners, 32 million small businesses in America, it's a massive number of people that could stand up and say, stop this, and not make it political. Just say, stop this.
Well, Grant, I appreciate you standing up. I'm sure it sounds like your employees do as well. You're representing, I think, a lot of people that feel unable to represent themselves. And thank you for your time today, sir.
Hey, thank you so much. Appreciate it.